Hey, what's up everybody? Just got the shipment for the ponds. So now comes work. Fish room's in the state of what it was yesterday. I think that was only yesterday. But I put a couple of the ponds in just to make sure they're gonna kind of line up. It's a little tight here. We still have the 3 feet and everything. I wish they were an exact match, but they're a couple inches off on both height and length there. But this extra pond does get to sneak in here, and I've got 6 more, which will basically be, come out right where this table is and kind of do 6 in a row. Now, I can probably order some more, but this is one of those tips that I really wanted to, practice instead of just preach, and that is, what if I want to do something else? Like I only ordered 8 of these, right? And I know I needed at least 10 and maybe even 12. But I thought, this is enough to get me started, and then I'll know, do I really love the bigger one? Do I like the smaller one? Do I need to change anything? And this was enough to, more than enough to get started. I really probably could have went with, so I've got those 3, and then if I had done like 2 more, I could have probably ordered 4 total instead of 8, and been just fine, had all this space. But now, since I made myself work, I don't want to let those sit out in the rain, even though they are ponds. I don't want to let them sit out in the rain while, they could be in here being used. So I need to clear off this table, and just a lot of products we've been testing, and that kind of stuff. Everything was on the old table basically, and aquascaping books. This is signed by Chris, and I always wonder what to do with this kind of stuff. And the reason why I say that is, I love that it's signed. It's a very cool book, but inside, nothing is in English. It's all in German. So you get great pictures, but that's about it. So it's going to live on a shelf somewhere. That's kind of what, this one is in English though, but also signed. I need coffee tables. That's what I need. I need coffee tables to display this stuff. But, so yeah, I just have to go through a bunch of this stuff and get it organized, and then we can start moving in. Alright, well, I finally got them in. I got that table moved that was over there, and now I'm about to sneeze, so if I sneeze, pardon me. But now I'm looking at it, so some things, I'm glad I didn't buy all of them. There'd be 2 more right here, but I'm already thinking, one thing I didn't anticipate, which I think is good, is that you can see over top of these to the bottom tanks. So if I was super busy and I'm just walking by, you could say oh, there's something dead over there, or they look fine, whatever it's gonna be, right? So that was a good, happy accident. And then over here, my spidey sense, OCD, whatever you want to call it, I don't necessarily have OCD or anything, but that tote being smaller is killing me. So I'm wondering, maybe we just drag this bigger one over to there and that one over to there and see what that looks like. Maybe we fit a 3rd one in. So I think that's my next step I'm gonna do, but I just want to show you this configuration because I'm really liking how it's coming out so far. There's gonna be a little bit of bowing from putting the water in, so we'll see how that ends up going, but I really like how clear the water is from just the overhead lighting. So there's nothing in our way. There's just lights up above and nothing over them. Going to be very efficient. One thing I hadn't thought of, if I'm out of town for a week, these lights aren't on a timer, but I could get a timer. I know they make them. Maybe that's what I'll have to do now, is put these switches right here on timers. Because when we originally built them, we built them so we could dim them and change the lighting for real fish talk. And there's 2 different, so you had just the center lit up, or you had just the outside lit up, and so you can do some some fun lighting things in here. We also wanted to change how we would view necessarily the tanks, so it looks that way. And then what was it, we wanted to maybe center, just a center. So but it turns out I just like them full blast on is what I enjoy. Lots of light so I can see everything. And so yeah, I am gonna swap that around. I think this is the right amount of space. Let me know what you guys think. I've got 3 feet and there's plenty of room, like 2 people, someone could be looking into this bin, someone could be looking into this bin if they wanted to, you could pass by each other, plenty of room to work. The things I was thinking about is if I'm sitting on this stool and I'm right here and I'm siphoning into a bucket or something, I want to have some room, and I believe I do. So that's going to work out. And yeah, one thing I'll point out, this is why I'm not a huge fan of sinking food. Like with goldfish, this water was crystal clear. I fed some sinking food, and now they are just, you know, going through everything and all of this. So yes, I need some more fine filtration. I don't have a sponge filter or anything in here yet. That's on the to-do list. And I upgraded the lighting. I put Fluval lights, 2 3-footers. So an interesting little thing I suppose is that, look at that right there. I went from 1 4-foot section to 2 3-foot. So we put more lighting on here. Now, we also kind of gravel vacked and disrupted a bunch of stuff and changed the filter, created the perfect environment for green water. So I'm just turning the light out for a few days to help combat that. And we'll see if we can get ahead of that. If we can't get ahead of it, then a UV sterilizer will fix it. But I've got to go shut that water off before I forget. All right, so I think it looks much better having those 3 big ponds just kind of all in the same row. I made space over here, obviously. Either A, we could downsize the fridge and freezer, or move it to a different room, and maybe we fit one more in there. For right now, I've got a little bit extra space. Not too concerned about that. And, you know, I think it's a good look. So if I come back here, you know, that's the way to the, you know, the filming area. We're gonna clean up that, obviously, up there. I've got some art I think it's gonna go up there. And I think it's gonna do what we need it to do. Some of the things I haven't quite figured out yet is getting power all the way out to here if I'm going to run USB nano air pumps. Dean had a good idea of running it underneath and over, so I might do that. So I'm not filling these ones up with water yet. I've only filled that one. Maybe I'll fill those 2 next so I can stay, you know, agile with how I'm going to set this up. I got to do a little bit of brain thinking, and maybe you guys will know about that. And I know someone will ask, so where did I get these totes? I got them from Daco. If I can zoom in. Yes. And I think they're United States wide. There's one in Washington where I live. So, and I'm sure you can get these at other places. These are like Apple bin totes. The black ones are cheaper, white ones are more expensive because they're food grade or whatever. So yeah. And then about the last, well not last thing, but while I'm thinking about it is, you know, I had the meeting with YouTube again, and they basically say channel's doing great, but people aren't subscribing. So they're watching, people watch us more than other fish channels of our size and all that. Like, we're doing great, but you guys aren't subscribing. So I need to make a more dedicated effort to say, hey, if you're watching this and you enjoy the content we do, subscribe. If you don't have an account yet, make an account, hit that subscribe button. It does matter, and you know, I need to put that soft sales pitch on more often, I guess. But for now, I'm going to keep washing, or I'm going to start washing crushed coral and fill some more totes up and maybe get some air going in some, and just keep working because it's only like 5 o'clock and I've got a little bit, you know, probably another hour before dinner, so I'm going to get to it. Alright, so I got a couple of the ponds set up, and I say set up, I don't have sponge filters in them yet, but I have air stones, get the water oxygenated, I still got to get crushed coral in there. Still running into the dilemma of what to do here. I've got a couple ideas, I think I can make this one work, but the goal is looking halfway decent, and a lot of wire management I think is what's really got to go on. Dean had a great idea of running those, you know, the extension cords, and that worked on the big ones because they have inlets down low and down low on this side. But these like half or three, I don't know, like 60% size ones only have it on the end. So I'd have to put like a gap in between each one, which I could technically do, but I think once water gets in there, it might pinch it, and I'm worried about that. So I'm going to explore a few different options here and figure that out. But I want to follow up on some testing. And that was, that the air pumps were using like 1/3 of a watt, and people had mentioned under load it would use more. And I thought that was weird because I don't know a lot about electricity, but I thought this isn't really putting much of a load, and the thing kind of does what it does. Like in my mind, my simple mind here, if I run, this refrigerator, basically, whether it has anything in it or not, it's going to use the same electricity under load, right? Like, I realize the compressor kicks on and that kind of stuff, but this thing is like a compressor or whatever that's always running at the same thing. So I plugged it in over here while it's under load, and yes, it is still 0.007 amps and 5.18 volts, and it used a lot more milliamp hours because I let it run for like a week, or I don't know about a week, but several days. So I'm basically gonna say, yep, it uses 1/3 of a watt of energy. They're gonna last a long time. They can go on battery backup. I love the fact that to save socket space, I can buy a twofer. I basically got two plugged in the same one, and that's what I might do over here, is find some kind of, like, for lack of a better term, USB extension cord type thingy. I've got like USB bars, which would work perfectly fine for these three. Just kind of mount it maybe in the center one and just go like hop over there, one there, and hop over here. And then on this side, so I'm trying to keep it, so I'm not gonna snag myself on it. And so like the air pumps are towards the back. Now I realize this might not be the best idea, just because if I ever overfill the tote, the air pump will get wet. I can use like a thumbtack and get them up on the wall. So I might do that. Might leave them there for a while until I break one and go, oh yeah, I should have done that. And then when it comes to over here, I kind of have to hang them. I have two options: hanging them, or I have to get a check valve. And I think I want just one little power cord coming up and them hanging. I don't mind the water level being down low. I want to say this tote already holds, it's like 225 gallons. I'll do the measurements and figure that out later. And these ones, I have no idea, but if they're 60%, maybe they're 110 gallons. I don't know. But I'm not that worried about water volume so much as huge surface area. And I've got my air stone going, and I think it's gonna be great for breeding fish. And I don't know if I've gone over that, but the goal is guppies, rice fish, cherry shrimp, lots of live bears and stuff. I just want to be able to walk in and just be feeding them and going, oh man, I love it. It's like I'm at my own little fish farm. And that's, maybe you guys can help me. What should I call the new fish room / new working in the fish room, like mini fish farm or something? Because that's really, like, my end goal with the aquarium co-op and all that is someday I can retire and become what I call an urban fish farmer. And that is just someone that lives in the city that is breeding fish, not necessarily for profit or anything. I just want to make a bunch of fish. That's all I like doing. And that's why I enjoy going outside so often, which, by the way, I saw more fry yesterday. I don't know if we'll be able to catch it on camera, if I'll be able to even see him today, but I walked out here yesterday and I noticed there was fry swimming around in this tote, which yesterday we filmed and I didn't see any while I was filming, but there are fry in here somewhere, I swear it. And of course, I knew I wouldn't get it on camera, but these things still doing okay. And holding up, I hadn't thought about that. This seems to be holding up just fine in heat, because how hot is that? Not that hot. Okay. Yeah. So even in direct sunlight, I'm sure that rubber will wear down over time. I don't doubt that for a moment, but yeah, I don't see. Of course, how dare you, fry? How dare you? But maybe I'll take you guys out to the koi pond, because a lot of you guys chime in and you want to see that. The members, there's a few members that say, hey, we want to see the koi pond, want to see the koi pond. So maybe I'll run out and feed that real quick and check in with my wife and see how much longer I can work before dinner's ready. So let's at least feed the koi. All right, here's the koi. Fed him a ton of duckweed a couple days ago. So the bubbler's still making tons of bubbles, but water much clearer. We can see way down far into it, and enjoying feeding as I call them, the hungry hippos. So even if I don't have that many koi in here, and they come up and swarm on top of each other just like the koi farm does, and there's plenty of room in here, so that's just a natural behavior. But not even that hot of a day, just nice and sunny, so they come up and eat. I'm really enjoying the color development on that Shiro Utsuri. The black that's kind of underneath the skin, it's kind of like really dull, should come in to be very black. I think they might call it the sumi. The sumi will get better. I'm not sure. I'm not that technical on the terms. Yeah, they kind of chew on what they have and they come up and grab more. Also doesn't help that I'm standing here. They're more social when I walk away typically. Let's see if I can get them to get a different angle here for you guys. But yeah, still enjoying it. What I didn't anticipate by putting this koi pond in is like every Amazon delivery person, that kind of stuff that comes to our front door is like mesmerized by this koi pond. So that's kind of a cool thing. But you can kind of, I think you can tell how far down they go. You can see basically to the bottom when it's the sunlight's directly over it, but you know, being 6 feet deep, there's about, you know, a little more than 5 feet of water in here right now. Obviously it's kind of hard. It's not perfect water quality, but I have been feeding pretty heavy, and things like duckweed are a messy feeder. So you can I don't know, I can see it, but if you can see all these hairs in here, it's because I put like a metric ton of duckweed in here and they ate it, which is super good for them, but also creates a mess. And so I haven't done many water changes in the last couple weeks. Just been letting it kind of settle out, and you know, all the green water's gone, and you know, they've been thriving, and so I've just been letting them do their thing for the most part. Alright, well, my wife told me she's putting some hamburgers on the barbecue, and so I've got probably maybe up to 20 minutes, so I gotta rush and do some crushed coral and that kind of stuff, so I'm heading there. Alright, well, got some crushed coral washed in both these totes. I'm not going super thick or anything, mostly because I hate washing crushed coral in large quantities. 40 pounds at a time is kind of brutal. And two, in ponds in general, I don't always love substrate. I want a fine layer just to buffer the water, and that's what crushed coral does. It buffers pH and hardness a little bit, but mostly KH. And so got those done. I think we put some, these two totes are done. I've been putting like 4, I don't know how to explain it, like that Raffi Sarah turtle food container. Well, that made it look small, but it's much bigger than that. 4 of them in here, in each one of these. I've still got 4 to go, plus these 2 big ones, so probably another at least 80 to 120 pounds before this part is done. But you know, I'm not going to move too much further on it because I want to think about the airline system, and I don't want to get water and weigh this down yet. I want to figure out how am I going to solve that problem and get that all worked out. And so yeah, my wife basically said dinner's going to be ready any minute, and so we're going to eat, and then I'm going to answer comments and stuff like that on YouTube, and then we're going to go to the gym and work out. As far as YouTube goes, now that we're getting, you know, we average about 3 million views every month, and if 1 out of 100 people leave comments, that ends up being an insane amount of comments. So I hunt for good questions, I hunt for members, I hunt for names I recognize, that kind of stuff. So if I'm not getting your question, I apologize, or your comment. I try to get as many as I can. Things that you can do to stick out is, you know, keep leaving comments, and I'll recognize names and make good questions, and I'll remember that, like, oh yeah, that person's doing a thing. or become a member, because then like that member community, sometimes you guys will answer each other, and it's a way to like stand out of the crowd of hundreds of thousands of people. But otherwise, I just, it's kind of at random. I do what I can. So I appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully you're enjoying these videos, because I'm going to keep making them at least till the fish room is in a state I want it to be. So, all right, have a good day, guys.